I still don't know how to start these videos. I don't have a catchphrase or anything like that, so be prepared to always have an awkward intro. As you can see, today you're with me in my bed because I'm emotionally attached to it. I only love my bed and YouTube drama, I'm sorry. Also, quick disclaimer, I just had 3 whole bowls of pasta, so I'm really bloated, so yeah. So to start off the video, I just want to shout out today's top comments, which are these 2 people. Thank you so much for being you, being nice. What it basically means is if you comment something in my latest video, and if I see it and I like it, then I'll feature you in my next video and shout you out. So, as you can tell by the title, today I'll be talking about the worst teachers I've ever had. I've been getting a lot of messages from you guys talking about school and saying that you're doing exams and stuff like that, and I've realised there's a lot of you who are still in school, and it kind of made me think back to the time where I was in school. A lot of memories are part of my repressed memory, so this is like a therapy session, like a whole bunch of repressed shit is gonna come out. So there's like a couple of mini stories, and every time I say I'm gonna do a mini story time, it always turns into like an 18-minute video. But I'm gonna try and condense these little stories because they're not that long, but I ramble and see. Already rambling. This intro is already an eternity long. Anyway, I'll just get into the video. So I just want to preface this in saying I'm not going to mention names of teachers, I'm not going to mention schools, because obviously it's people's careers, it's people's jobs, and I'm not about to like fuck up someone's career, even though they were kind of a bit of a dick. So the first story happened when I was around 12, 13, and if you've watched my channel, you know I've kind of always had like issue with the way that I look and stuff like that. I was very tall, like 12, 13 was around the time where I stopped growing, and I'm 5'9". So at 12 and 13 I was this massive girl. Obviously now I don't care, I like being tall, but at the time, you know, when you're that age, you want to just fit in. I never felt very girly. This will come in later in the story, but I never felt very comfortable in my skin. So around the time this happened, my school was doing an end of year performance. So that year they decided to do High School Musical, and I was actually quite new to that school, but I decided to audition. I thought I'd be able to meet new friends, new people, whatever. I ended up getting the main role, which is Gabriella. So what I didn't really think through was the fact that High School Musical is about a couple, like Troy and Gabriella. They're gonna have to act romantically with each other, they're gonna have to kiss and stuff like that, but I didn't really think about that because I'm 12. So the drama teacher, at the start she was really nice and okay, like any other normal teacher. I don't know, it might have just been the stress of putting on a performance or something like that, but she slowly just turned into a bit of a bitch. So I kind of noticed that she wasn't very nice when she cast a girl to play Miss Evans, like the drama teacher in the High School Musical play. I think her name, was her name Miss Evans? Oh, okay, Miss Darvis. Her name was Miss Darvis. The drama teacher, she was in charge of casting people into the roles that she felt they could do, right? So she decided to cast this girl who was from Nigeria. She had a very heavy accent, there's nothing wrong with that, but she cast her. So then when it came to rehearsals, literally I would say 60% of rehearsals consisted of the drama teacher screaming at this girl because of her pronunciation. Because, right, so we had to speak in an American accent, right? So you're gonna get someone with a Nigerian accent to then try and do an American accent. And it was kind of the same with me. I'd only just kind of learnt to speak English because English is my third language, third or fourth, depending how you look at it. But it's not my first language, and I'd only just kind of mastered the English accent. It's not like you didn't know she talked like that, like she auditioned, you should have known. And now you're just like berating this girl about her accent, making her redo her lines every single time, making us just really uncomfortable because you're shouting at the, like, ugh. That's another thing. I don't understand where teachers feel they can shout and scream at other children. Like, I remember at school, to me that was just normal, but now as an adult, looking back, I'm just like, those exact same teachers who screamed at me when I was at school met me now. They wouldn't have the balls to scream at me. So why is it okay to scream and shout at a child, but it's not okay to do it now, you know? So yeah, so she's shouting at this girl, kind of belittling her because she can't pronounce certain words the way that she wants her to pronounce them. And it got to a point where literally the girl who was supposed to be playing Miss Darbus, she quit. But then she decided to move on to me. I remember when I said I had a real issue with being tall and feeling like a bit of a burly old man. Well, she loved commenting on the fact that I looked like a man. Literally, she would say, "You look like a man." And to a degree, I understand because I did look very awkward. Like, at this point, I didn't really know how to act feminine. I don't know how else to put it. Just like, I never put my hand on my hips or whatever like that. I just didn't do that. I kind of stood around and I don't know, I'm 12, okay? I don't know. But she loved pointing out that I stood like a man, I walked like a man. She used to berate me so much, and I remember it used to upset me so much because it's already an insecurity of mine. So one day we were rehearsing a scene in a classroom or something, and everyone had to take their normal school bags up on stage because at that point we didn't have any props or anything like that. So we just took our normal school bags on stage. We were rehearsing and she stops the scene and she's like, "Wait, no, I don't like Annie's bag. It's not something Gabriella would wear. It's not very girly at all." Comes to the edge of the stage because it was like elevated, grabs my bag and throws it across the room. I'm not even joking. She threw it across the room. No one said anything because when you're that age, you feel like teachers can't and won't do anything wrong. Like, anything and everything a teacher says and does is right. So I felt like shit. Like, you've just fucking thrown my bag across the room, called me a man for the 100th time that day. Things progress. And at this point, it's time to go and buy costumes and outfits and props and stuff like that. So what usually happens was you would go out and buy your costume, you bring in the receipt, and then the drama department would go on and cover the costs. I looked up some outfits online, bought all of the stuff with my own pocket money that I'd saved up, could have used it for something else, but whatever, because I knew, obviously, well, I thought anyway, I'd get the money back. I bought like this navy skirt and this brown flower top and whatever. Like, it was girly. It definitely wasn't something I would wear ever. So everyone came in and showed her the outfits. She would take the receipts and she would reimburse them. So it came to my turn and she's just like, "What are you wearing?" In front of everyone on stage. And I'm just like, oh my god, okay, oh no, she's gonna do it, she's gonna call me a man again, isn't she? I remember back in the day, I used to make Facebook statuses all the time, and I remember making a status something like, "Oh, at least you didn't call me a man today," or something like that. And there were so many, and reading them back now is just so sad because back then I also had like the same type of humor I have today. Like, I would try and make light of a shitty situation. I'd try and make fun of it, like, "Ha, at least you didn't call me man today," you know? But it's still really sad. I remember coming home from those rehearsals feeling so defeated and so down about myself. Where was I going? Oh yeah, so outfits. So she's just like, "What are you wearing?" Gabriella would never wear brown. Like, she doesn't wear dark colours, what are you doing, blah, blah, all that. So she actually had a favourite pupil, and she didn't try and hide that. Like, her favourite was one of the girls in the year above me. She was very active in the drama department. She was part of like school clubs and stuff like that. So she was like, let's call her Jenny. And she's like, "Look how Jenny dressed herself. this is oh, she was Sharpay, by the way. So she was like, this is exactly what Sharpay would wear, you know? Maybe you should take a leaf out of her book and actually research what your character wears. And I remember seeing a picture of Gabriella wearing like a brown top or like something similar that I had bought. So she refunded everyone else's receipts and stuff like that. Didn't refund mine. I had to keep the clothes that I was never gonna wear. So then I had to go out again, buy new things, borrow some stuff off my mum, and again, at this point, I was way too scared to approach her about getting a refund. Let me point this out. I'm 12, so I have no sense of this isn't right, you can't talk to me like that in my head. So then fast forward again. Basically, the girl who's playing Sharpay, she kind of lost her voice because she was ill. The drama teacher loved her, so she was like, no, don't worry, you don't have to sing today. It wasn't just me that she was picking on, it was everyone, but because I think I was the main character and I had the most lines, it gave her the opportunity to criticize me the most. So I actually got ill as well, had a really sore throat, it hurt to talk. So before one of the rehearsals, I actually went up to the teacher and I was like, hey, I'm not feeling well today, do you mind if I not sing? Because that day we were rehearsing a song, a solo of mine that had a really high, like, belting part. And obviously it was gonna damage my voice, especially if I wasn't feeling well and I had a sore throat. And this woman, literally, like, a couple of days before, she was being so supportive with Jenny and her sore throat, but the second that I asked not to sing one song, she's literally just like, so what would happen if you had a sore throat on the performing night? I honestly wish I had been the way I am now back then. So I would literally have the balls to say, like, you literally didn't have a problem with this other girl saying she couldn't sing for a day, but the second that I asked to spare my voice because I'm fucking ill, you have an issue and you want to comment on it. By the way, I don't ever like script these videos. So as I'm telling the story, I'm kind of remembering what happens and I always get so angry. So yeah, so up until this point, she had called me a man countless times, had thrown my bag across the room. Thank God I didn't have my phone in there. So because obviously there was a romance between Troy and Gabriella, in the script, it said that Troy and Gabriella had to kiss. Again, I know I keep pointing this out, but I'm 12, okay? I haven't even fucking held a boy's hand before. So this woman is expecting me to have my first kiss in front of an audience, in front of my parents, in front of my friends. It wasn't gonna happen. And during rehearsals, I'd always try to get out of it and be like, oh no, like, I don't want to. And she'd literally just be like, well, you have to. It says so in the script. And I'm just like, okay, in the script it also says Gabriella does advanced calculus. Do you acting? But no, like, she wouldn't let me do a fake kiss. Basically, she was literally forcing me, like pressuring me to kiss this guy. Like, she was worse than a pressurizing boyfriend. Like, she wouldn't take no for an answer. And it got to a point where I got really, really down. I actually went to a teacher who wasn't involved in the production. He was just my form tutor. And I kind of said to him, do you think it's allowed that a teacher makes a pupil kiss a boy? And that's what I said to him. And then obviously he was just like, why? And I kind of told him, he was like, well, that's not okay for her to do. After that, I guess he must have talked to her or something, because afterwards she was fine with me kissing. Like, I still had to kiss him on the cheek, but didn't have to do mouth stuff. So whenever I would kind of say, I don't really feel comfortable kissing him, I don't really want to, she literally, I remember this word for word, I remember her saying, well, you know, when I was 18 and I was in my first ever acting production thing, I had to kiss a guy that I didn't want to. So, you know, he was really gross and disgusting. So sometimes we just have to do things we don't want to. So I remember thinking just like, okay, number one, that was a professional production you were probably a part of. This is a fucking end of school production. This isn't Broadway. Number two, you were 18. I'm 12 years old. And number three, you were being paid. I wasn't. I'm if anything, I'm doing you a favor. Also, I just keep remembering things that she'd do. She liked to make fun of my accent because at the time, I'd only just kind of mastered the English accent because, as some of you guys might know, I'm not actually English. I moved to England from Switzerland to learn English. So yeah, I made a huge effort to actually be able to speak fluently and with like a convincing accent as well. So in the play, we actually had to speak in an American accent. And obviously, as a foreigner who's literally just learned English and just mastered the English accent, asking them to do a completely different accent is asking a lot. But I gave it a go. It sounded okay, I want to say, but sometimes I would just say certain words that didn't sound very American, sound a bit weird, and she would love to make fun of that. Like, I remember a specific word. I was supposed to say meeting. I can't believe we're meeting this way or something like that. And in my amazing American accent, I said something like, I can't believe we're meeting this way. So I said meeting really weirdly, like meeting. And she stopped the whole thing and she was making fun and she was just like, oh, like, are you Cockney now? Meeting, like, that's not how you say it. Making fun of someone who's taken the time, taken the effort to learn English, who doesn't know English that well. Why? So finally, after the whole thing was over, we performed it. It was a great success. We sold out every night. Afterwards, I kind of felt really down about myself and I didn't know why at the time, but obviously now I know. Being shouted at and screamed at and having my insecurities shouted at me almost every day for 2 hours straight for rehearsal, it's gonna take a toll on you. And I hope that she just had this weird hatred for me and that she never ever talks and does stuff like that to any other pupil again. Thinking about it now, I feel like she was just a very bitter person. But all I've got to say is those who can't do, teach. Those who can't teach, scream and shout about how manly you look on stage. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'll link everything down below. And don't forget to comment and subscribe. And don't forget, if I see your comment and I like it, I will feature it in my next video. So yeah, see you next week.